Good evening and welcome back to another episode of It's a Football Thing. It's for me an upgraded football thing tonight because I'm for once, and it doesn't happen often, joined by some quality Man United supporters and a quality Chelsea supporter. I'm a bit over RJ's nonsense, but we have a really special panel for this sharp, sweet stream tonight, where we're going to be looking at the Super League. Is this going to fizzle out in 48 hours again? Or could this be the real thing this time? And we're also going to chat about the new Champions League reforms that maybe are going to drive this Super League thing to become a reality. But before we get into it, superstar panel, we've got Mo from the Blue Lounge, and all their links are in the description. Mo's a good friend and supporter of ours. How you going, Mo?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's a pleasure to be on your channel finally. I've been waiting for you to invite me. It's been a while.
Hey, that time difference has made it a little bit tricky
It's
for us, hasn't
crazy. Yeah, it is crazy. It is crazy. Yeah. No, I mean, I've hosted you guys, you, RJ, Rob, on my channel in the past, and it's a pleasure to finally come on your platform. So I'm looking forward to the show tonight.
That's it. Welcome. And we've got my man Butcher from the football capital. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good, Scott. How are you? How are the rest of the boys there?
Man,
So
they're
I'm like
doing
I'm a bit like Mo. I haven't got my invite. Might have got lost in the floods, but I think it's finally found its way.
Hey, look, well, you know what? Better late than never, they say, and it's good to have
That's
you. I
right.
know you're doing a madness on your channel at the moment, but the boys are out tonight. I know RJ's got a family birthday on, and Robbie, God knows what he's doing tonight. But hey, we've upgraded. We're going to talk about this regardless, and I know they'll be tuning in. And of course, you've seen him a few times on the channel. His invite wasn't lost in the floods. Tom from the United Podcast. Tom, how are you, my man?
Yeah, all good, man. Poor excuses, I think, from RJ and Rob, but always a pleasure to be back on, and good to see Manchester United actually sort of outnumbering everyone here as well. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to it.
Mo and I have London covered. And you've got a 10 o'clock, Tom, a stream coming up. Just quickly plug that, man.
Yeah, so for any Man United fans, obviously the guy needs no introduction. Jay Moddy off Stratford Paddock will be joining us 10 o'clock, so at about an hour and a half. So any Man United fans, feel free to come join us on that. Or if you're not a Man United fan and you do want to hear how depressed we are ahead of the Manchester derby this week, feel free to come along as well. But yeah.
All good. Boys, I want to start by sharing this screen with you. The new Champions League format from 2024-2025. The reason I'm starting with this is because I truly believe that this is a big reason why this Super League stuff has potentially kicked off again. I'm just going to go through that. 36 teams in total, up from 32. We've got the group stages that have been replaced by one big league table. Every team will play 10 games, 5 home, 5 away, and 100 additional games. The top 8 qualify, and then you've got 9th to 24th place competing in a 2-legged playoff. It's confusing, boys. It's confusing for me. I know we haven't been near the Champions League for a while, but I look at this and I'm not excited for it. Tom, how do you feel about these reforms?
As I said, I think the first word is confused. Ultimately, football fans, and we don't like change, and this sort of drastic change is definitely something you're not looking forward to. However, I just don't know. I need this drawn out on maybe a big table in front of me and have all the team names and say, okay, who can play who? Because at the moment, I see that 10 games, I think 5 home, 5 away. I think the way I read that as a Man United fan is Man United are going to have Barcelona, Real Madrid, PSG, Atletico Madrid, and Bayern Munich, and Manchester City are going to have Slavia Prague, Panathinaikos, and Colchester United will somehow get in there. So I don't understand who's going to play who, why teams are going to play each other. And look, ultimately, we can look at the current Champions League setup and think, okay, there's issues with that and who's qualifying for that, and that sort of brings up bigger issues. But this one just trumps that completely. I can't get my head around it. One, how it works, and two, how it is going to promote the sort of European football's elite, because it's not. If you're going to increase the teams, and you already look at some of the teams in the Champions League simply don't deserve to be there in regards to quality. If you're only going to put more in there like that, it's as I say, I think it will tie into the discussion later in regards to the Super League.
Before I go to you, Mo, for your thoughts, we've got Shano in the chat. Big Newcastle fan. He's all for it because he wants Newcastle and Arsenal to fight for the Premier League title while the others jump. Well, the way I understand this, is that it's in addition to your domestic league. So, but I mean, in terms of what the Premier League do, in terms of punishments, God knows, because there's so many rumours. This is all very fresh, and what we say tonight could be irrelevant tomorrow. But we've got Robbie here too, enjoying over a nice vino. We've got George in the house. George, nice to see you. RJ in the chat too at his birthday party tonight. And George reckons it's a pretty unfair format. The 10 teams you play are random, and the 4 additional spots are based on history. No one should qualify on history. Mo, I've done a lot of talking. I want to chuck it over to you. What do you think as the current champions of Europe and the world when you see that?
Yeah, no, it's a very, very valid point. The historical basis. I mean, you would have had, I think, Tottenham go into the Champions League while a team like Leicester would have missed out, even though they finished ahead of Tottenham. Because historically speaking, Tottenham has had more of an impact on the Champions League than a team like Leicester, and it negates from your performance in the in your domestic league. Premier League, for example, you can finish ahead of a team and still not qualify for the Champions League. So from that aspect, the historical qualification process is a little bit of an iffy situation for me. I'm not really for that. And also in regards to the format, with the addition of more teams and more games, we're already seeing the congestion of the fixture list for a lot of the big teams. Playing in multiple competitions. I think the quality of football will suffer from this. Yes, we're going to get more games. Yes, we might get more exciting games in regards to the opposition. But I think the quality that we're going to see is going to dip drastically with the expansion of the Champions League with this format. I think it's more money oriented rather than quality. It's quantity rather than quality. So maybe it's more football, but is it good football? I would rather go back to having less games of a higher quality than more games of a lower quality. That's how I see it.
100%, Porche. You've been waiting patiently, but I know you're a man who'd have an opinion on this. You guys aren't going to be there anyway in 2024. You'll probably be in the championship, but how do you feel about it?
Probably, at least we have a chance of winning something. Maybe we'll be Arsenal, Man United in the championship competing again like the old days. But look, I'm like the boys. The first thing, like Tom just said, confusion. I need it drawn up as well. And even when they do draw it up, we see in the Champions League draw, they still muck it up. So even with that, like Mo was saying, more teams in the competition. Is that what? So it's what history by what they've done in the Champions League or in European competitions prior. So you're looking at what Forest coming back in, Villa coming back in, compared to some teams that are challenging, or like Leicester, who's won the Premier League before. Do they get the spot instead? So it is a confusing one, especially with the games, like 100 extra more games. Now, we already know that, like Mo was saying, with the congestion of the fixtures this season, are we not worried about the safety of the players, injuries and all that sort of stuff? Like, what does that say for the players, or what does that do to the players? Does that mean the teams that are in these competitions, all of a sudden we don't play the League Cup, or we don't play the FA Cup because there's too many fixtures? And we'll touch a bit more about that when we speak about the Super Cup. But yeah, it's just so confusing. It's like the 10 teams, like George was saying in the comments, that 10 teams who judges who plays who, and how does that work? Like Tom was saying, they're gonna get City will get Young Boys and Basel and all these other teams while we play PSG. And even if they don't get the draw right, we'll still play Barcelona's and your Bayern Munich's, which is, look, not a bad fixture, but still, how that all works, I don't know. And it's very similar, like with the extra teams. They did it in the Euros. Now, look, my background's Macedonian. Now, I was so proud for my nation to finally be in the Euros, but with these extra teams, you're still dumbing down the competition. The quality it's just not like the Euros wasn't like it used to be. Even so, the Champions League, like back in the day, was if you won your league, only the winners go through to play the champions, because obviously the name Champions League, every champion of of their country plays in it. Then he went to whoever comes runners up, and then obviously there's more spots when it came to England. And then he came. I remember. Don't you remember where fourth used to be? You have to qualify. Now it's automatic. What happens now? Is fifth automatic now because they feel sorry for Arsenal, Man United, and Spurs, or these teams? Like, I don't know. It's a tricky one. It's a bit confusing as well.
I look at it and I think about, because I said this when the Super League debate was on, people were coming out saying these Super League clubs are greedy, they don't care about the fans. And I said on our show, I said, mate, neither do UEFA. Please don't sit for a moment and think that UEFA are worried about the fans. Because when I see 100 extra fixtures, look, we're all reasonably intelligent men. We know what's going on. It's all about the money. They want that money. 100 extra fixtures, TV rights go through the roof. Like, you're building all of that up. Do you see, Mo, can you maybe try and find a positive to it or something that you like? Because I look at this and I genuinely cannot think of one thing that I like in these changes. I don't know if you can, Mo, but I can't find it.
It depends who you're catering for. What demographic of fans are you catering for? I mean, maybe some of the old school fans, maybe the older generation that I like to put myself in that bracket, may not be so happy with these changes. However, maybe the newer fans, the younger generation who don't subscribe to the history as maybe the older generation do, maybe the more social media, marketing, franchise oriented, maybe the more football, American style of football, American style of sport fans, they may like this, they may enjoy this, maybe the quality that we're seeking and that we're aspiring to might not be something that they're quite on board with. So it could fit a different demographic. However, from my perspective, I think the quality will definitely suffer. The quality of football. I mean, we've seen it. I mean, if we look back at at your club, the other chaps, Manchester United, Arsenal, I think the dip in form, the dip in quality, because of the different mindset in regards to the ownership of your clubs. Focusing more on the marketing aspect, the profit-making aspect, has impacted the football. And this development could also impact the football. And I know we're going to talk about the Super League in a minute, but I think it's all about the quality. And there are aspects of this in regards to entertainment value, more games, more events to look forward to, more fixtures to look forward to. So from that aspect, maybe it's good for people who are on the go, as we can say. But in regards to quality, no, there's no comparison. Quality, there's no comparison. And I'm talking from a Chelsea fan's perspective. This season we've had so many fixtures. A lot of the games that we've had, we've noticed a massive dip in the quality of our performances. And that will be on a wider scale in respect to all of the European teams because of the amount of fixtures they're going to be playing. So
spot on. And we're seeing injuries. We're seeing it. It's been mental at this point. All of our clubs have gone through, respective patches where injuries have really impacted on everything. And you're already seeing clubs that maybe don't take the FA Cup or the League Cup seriously. Yep. So you're already seeing those comps be diminished. You add more fixtures into the Champions League, more travel potentially. It's just going to get worse. Tom, before we move on to the Super League, I know you're a pretty level-headed guy. Can you see a positive in it at all? Anything you like?
No, ultimately no. However, when you will try and cling to a positive, and you will try and find something. And ultimately, we are so far, especially us here in Australia, are so far detached from the game, and we're not going to games, and we are spending money, but we're not spending what the match-going fan is.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's more games for us to sit home and watch. Okay. Ultimately, we're going to say, "Oh, we're not happy with the quality, or it's too much." Ultimately, we're going to sit there. We're going to invest ourselves in it. It's wrong of us to do so, but we will. We're all hypocrites. But there's one thing now. I don't know if you've still got the graphic there, Scott. My main thing after reading all those in terms of the points, if you just bring up that last one for me, I think it was teams 36 teams in total, and just wait for the bottom one to come up. teams finishing 9th to 24th place will compete in a two-legged playoff to go in the last 16. And I just look at that. If you finish 24th in a league and you're ultimately being given a second chance to go and win Europe's elite competition, that's not Europe's elite competition, in my opinion. You can't finish 24th and still being with a chance to win it, because after that, in the last 16, that's knockout football. Anything can happen. But if you finish that far down the ladder, that's like English Premier League having a finals series, a playoff series, and you finish 15th, and you go in and into a knockout FA Cup style tournament and you win the Premier League. It's not football, in my opinion.
Nah, it's absolutely nuts. And I guess looking at these new formats that they're putting out, because UEFA, FIFA, they're trying to change things up. They're not content with leaving football as it is. We know that with the talk about World Cups being more frequent, that football fans seem to be united against. We then got the news coming out, more rumours about the Super League being revived. Now, when this first happened, it was quashed. In 48 hours, it was done. I've never seen something get just brutalised by fans so quickly, and it died out. All of our clubs were involved in the original thing. Now, there are mixed reports about the English teams. There are some things saying that United, Chelsea, City, have I missed anyone? I think it was just United, Liverpool
yep,
are all keen to get back on board, and that Arsenal are missing out, along with Spurs. And then there are some things saying that no English teams are jumping in. Borch, I'm going to come to you. What was your reaction when you heard that this was coming back, and would you be happy to see your team compete in a new Super League?
For that last point you just made about Arsenal and Spurs not being in there, if you guys get top 4, you'll be absolutely spewing. But look, I think last time when this came up, there was a bit of outrage because of the layout of it, how there was no in or out. It was, these are the teams competing, and it will be the teams competing every single year. So what happens to, the fairy tale runs, like was it Porto in 2004, if I'm not mistaken, and all these type of teams coming and doing their fairy tale run and winning the Champions League, or even getting far, or even teams like, was it Sheriff that beat Real Madrid this season? Forget all that. I mean, you got players in all these other leagues. I know they're not the best teams, but there's players like, for example, that Sheriff team. None of them will probably ever play for another high-profile club. That's probably their level, and they'll never, like, it's probably a dream to even play for Real Madrid, let alone to play against them on the field, right? So it's like, that's their opportunity for them. And even we know, like, Daniel Georgievski that played here in Australia, when he was at Dinamo Zagreb, he moved to Standard Bucharest, and they played Chelsea in the Champions League. But that was his level. He's not going to play for these Barcelonas and Bayern Munichs to play Champions League all the time. So I think the way they did it last time, and especially with how the rest of the football pyramid was going to suffer from all the money being put into this tournament, I think there was a lot of outrage. I was definitely not behind that one. But this, to be honest, man, I think there's a bit more legs in this one, because everything the fans wanted out last time around, they've kind of corrected it. So I think there is an in and out. What's that? How many teams are going to be in there? Was it 20? Is this the
20?
Yeah. So it's like, this teams can now compete. If you don't do well, you will drop out. But I don't know, man. I know we all say change is good, but I don't know about this one. To be honest, what does that mean? Like, let's just say United and all these English teams and all the rest of Europe go into this competition. If United wins this, does that count as a European trophy? Does that count as the Champions League? Or now, can we never catch Liverpool as the English teams? Can Chelsea never catch United in getting that one more European trophy, or do we start from one? I will hate to be like a United fan, unless if we win it this year, when we win it this year, we'll have 4. Then we only have 2 to catch up to Liverpool. But then it's like, if this new tournament goes ahead, is that it? This Champions League is that trophy. It's a new trophy now. You're competing for something else. That will be, for me, probably the nail in the coffin, where I kind of disagree. But I think there's still a lot more negatives there than positives.
Positives.
Again,
Yeah,
Yeah,
look,
it's fun.
I agree with you, mate, and you're already seeing on social media some mixed reactions this time, but what I'm seeing is more negative than positive. Mo, going to come to you next. They've taken some of that feedback on board. The big gripe last time seemed to be that it was exclusive and there was no kind of relegation, promotion, or qualification. They've changed that now. Does this sit more comfortably with you with these changes?
It does. It does. And for me, this is what I want to see happen to the Champions League. I would rather have this tournament used as the next European Cup per se. So to answer the question, could we still catch Man United? Yes, if we were to win this, and this would take over from the Champions League. But for this to work, it needs to be done in conjunction with UEFA. It can't be done by the clubs alone, because as you can see, the feeder to this tournament is the national leagues. So the national leagues would feed into this tournament, and clubs can get relegated back into their leagues. For me, this as an independent tournament, as an independent league, where the teams that are in it literally only play in it and could get relegated back to their league, it would open up a lot of avenues for the national leagues. A lot of the clubs, the Middlesbroughs, the Newcastles, Nottingham Forest, the clubs that don't really get a chance to make it or to be big nationally, can get that back, and clubs like ours could continue in the Super League. I think the quality aspect will also be addressed, as in we'll be playing less games. There's less fixtures because we don't have to play National League and Super League. It'll only be that. I think we will still play domestic cups like the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, alongside this. So I'm actually up, for this, but for this to work, it can't be clubs leaving their national leagues and setting up the Super League. It's got to be done in conjunction with FIFA and UEFA. And, this is a good idea if it's taken on board by everyone. However, I can't see it happening. UEFA are not up for this. However, if UEFA can incorporate this into their new reforms for the Champions League, something happening. And to be fair, football is evolving. Football will not be the same. Where the Champions League, the European Cup, it changed the Champions League, the Premier League, the first division. This is going to happen. Rules are being changed, regulations are being changed. Big up to Tobago in the chat. Big up to my brother. Yeah, so it's going to happen. It's going to change. And this format, a different format, we need to be ready for it. And I think we need to address it and look at it with an open mind. The errors that were highlighted by us fans have been addressed by the clubs, which is a good thing. And I think moving forward, if UEFA and these clubs take on our voices and actually action them and do something about them, that's a good sign. And more power to them. Let's see some change. I
can't see it happening though, Mo. I'm about to throw to you, Tom. I can't see. It seems to me like UEFA, it's almost now a standoff. It's no one wants to give in to the other side. These Super League clubs, and it seems to be coming mainly from the Spanish and the Serie A teams that are really pushing for this. And why wouldn't they when their leagues aren't bringing in the kind of money that the English Premier League is? But UEFA don't want to back down. These guys don't want to back down. But I can't see UEFA not getting their way. How do you feel about it, Tom?
I think we're all being a little bit naive, to be honest. I think we need to look back and feel what our sort of true emotion was at the time when this first broke. What was it, a year ago? Or I forget how long ago it was. I've lost track of time throughout the pandemic. But our emotions then and our thoughts towards all our owners and all the people behind this, do not for one second think this is something different. They are trying to do the exact same thing. We knew when that sort of fizzled down, when the fans sort of all united and sort of got what we wanted, we knew this was coming back. We knew they were going to revise it and go about it a different way. Ultimately, they have gone about it a different way, but it is the same thing. They still want to, at the end of the day, in my opinion, create a closed shop, create I don't know what you'd call it, an NFL style competition. This is why the American owners have come into the game in English football, to set this style of competition up. And I think one of the graphics you had there in regards to that tweet saying teams have a chance to qualify. Teams might not take that chance. Every other club, besides the big clubs involved in that Super League, were kicking back against the idea. Now, ultimately, when money's on the table, they might have a different opinion and they might come to the table. However, it was hit with, I remember Leeds. I think Leeds played Liverpool the day that it was announced.
They had the shirts.
Stuff like that. So I think so many clubs and clubs like that, and look, I'm no fan of Leeds, of course, but clubs like that or at that level will listen to their fans a lot more. Now, ultimately, money does talk, but I don't buy the people behind this, like the Glazers, and that's the sad thing as a Manchester United fan. They were running this. I think Man United and Liverpool were the big hitters in England, sort of running with this, and were the last people to pull out. I think Mo could correct me. I think Chelsea were first to pull out when everything was happening. Then sort of maybe it might have been Arsenal and Tottenham. United and Liverpool were hanging on for dear life to stay in it. And the Glazers, since they came in 2005, the Glazers have communicated publicly twice with Manchester United in 17 years. Both times were apologies, and once was for the Super League. They haven't communicated this one, and in that apology that they did announce last year was saying, if ever we do this again, we will consult with the fans. Here it is on the table. They haven't consulted with the fans. So I don't trust them at all. I think this is exactly what it was the other year.
It could be interesting. It could be interesting, Tom, since Ed Woodward has left now, if he's not part of it. And Rob made a good point last night on your stream, Scott, about how quick it was for Abramovich to leave, or not leaving, but he's selling the club, how quick it was, in the space of 48 hours, that straight he went from not selling to now I'm selling, and he put out a statement. I won't be surprised if he might be involved in something like this. You know what I mean? Let me get myself out of Chelsea, and this is just a conspiracy theory, but let me get myself out of Chelsea just so when this does come back, I won't get the stick for it, or it won't be put on me. So he's probably left. Something might be happening behind the scenes. With the rest of with the guys from was it Perez and the other guy from Juve, they could be all involved. And the thing is, myself and I think a lot of people, we're calling it the European Super Cup, but you go on, their website is still up. All the branding is the Super Cup, right? So it's they could take the final to Dubai, to America, to all these countries where the money is. And what's not to say that they're not going to get, for example, the other Red Bull teams around the world to compete in these tournaments, or the city group to compete, because it's the Super League. It's not the European Super League in terms of the branding. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one to see who's running it. I don't know if I think you might have a bit more legs than it did last time, but it'll be interesting to see everyone that's against it. Like Gary Neville straight away came out and spoke about it the other day or yesterday. If Sky do get the rights to something like the Super Cup, will he walk? Would Gary Neville and all these pundits and all that are against this and speaking about this, would they walk if it ever does come, or they'll still be part of the coverage? It will be interesting.
Yeah,
look, and even as fans, we're all gonna hate it, but we're still gonna watch it. So they've got us no matter whether it's financially or just by us waking up at the ridiculous times. We'll still be watching our teams play.
Mo, you think Chelsea are going to be down for this? I mean, look, the thing is about this tonight, when I was talking to the boys about this stream, RJ said to me, rightfully so, he doesn't often speak sense, is that what you speak about today may be redundant in a couple of days, because things with this could change. Now, I know you were saying, Borche, that you think it's going to have a lot more legs this time. I'm actually feeling the opposite. I actually feel like this is just like Juve and those teams that aren't doing as well financially, trying to give this one last push and hope.
Because they never really left. They never really left.
They just kind of retreated to a corner, though, and they stopped talking about it. But I don't know. I feel like there's not going to be a lot of legs this time. Mo, where are you at with it? And what do you think of the conspiracy theories, man? This is a conspiracy theory.
In regards to Roman Abramovich, he wasn't really for this. He wasn't really pushing this. It was more Bruce Bock who was on board with this. And if anyone is going to be pushing it, and if anyone is behind it, it's probably Bruce Bock. Roman Abramovich, it doesn't make any sense for him to go in or out. I think he'd probably be leaning towards going out of this, as he knows the fans are against it predominantly. So he wouldn't want to tarnish his legacy with the fans as he's leaving. So Bruce Buck, his position is also under threat with the change of ownership. But I could see him, be pushing for this as far as he can up until his last minute. He could be doing that. So there is legs to that kind of conspiracy. However, I think it's the whole thing, and I agree with you, Scott. It is very hard for it to happen under these circumstances. However, I think the idea could still happen. The format, the name, the brand, the way we actually achieve it could be different. UEFA and these clubs may come to a certain agreement whereby they'll increase their percentage of the investment, the money that's coming in, because a lot of the clubs right now they see UEFA. I think UEFA get 51% of the revenue, and 49% is divided among the clubs, and that isn't sufficient for the clubs. So that might change, and that if that does change, we could see this whole Super League shelved for another decade or so. However, I think the Super League or a format of the Super League will be happening in the future. The way it's going to happen, I'm not sure. The format in respect to who's going to be running it, but I think there is something. There is legs to this. It's just the way that it's gonna it's gonna pan out. It's going to be different. And again, I don't think Roman Abramovich is behind this, but Bruce Buck. Yeah, definitely could be involved.
Ed Woodward's definitely going to be poking his nose in 100%.
Hey, Kroenke's got his Super Bowl, so I'm sure he wouldn't mind being in a Super
He's
League.
not aware. The Kroenkes are not aware that this is happening. I'll guarantee you.
It's still celebrating.
He's still trying to work out what colour Arsenal play in. So.
Oh dear! Look, boys, I did say to you, because this was a last-minute call out. It was like the Avengers assembling to help me out. So I did tell you we wouldn't go too long. It's been 32 minutes. I'm just going to go around to each of you boys again to just kind of give us your final thoughts on whether you prefer this Super League that's proposed to the Champions League reforms. Because for me personally, just to put where I stand, I hate the Champions League reforms. But I also don't like the idea of breaking away and doing this Super League. And Emad puts a good question in. Do the clubs leave their national league if they're in the Super League? We don't know. The Super League, from what I've read, is meant to sit outside of that as an extra. But we all know that the Premier League and things, there may be punishments. I mean, you can see what's happening in the world at the moment. It's very easy to lock someone out or shut someone down and all of that. So we could see this happen as a punishment. And that, for me, as an Arsenal fan, that terrifies me, because the Premier League, for me, is it. And maybe it can be because we haven't been in the Champions League, but I would not trade the Premier League for any of those things. So before I go to you, Tom, please check the description as well for all these guys' channels. There is some amazing content that all of these boys put out. And I know Tom's doing a stream in less than an hour. So please check them out, sub to their channels. If you're new to ours, hit that sub button as well and chuck a like on the video. But Tom, new Champions League, Super League, or neither of them?
Well, look, hopefully United qualify for the Champions League this season. That's my main Champions League goal at the moment. But ultimately, look, Champions League for me, but I agree with you, the reform is just stupid in my opinion. I can't get my head around it, and I don't think I ever will. However, in terms of the point Emad brings up there and your national or your domestic league in qualification for the Super League or Champions League, my main question was the same thing for when it sort of broke out last year, was what role or what sort of punishments could domestic leagues place on these teams? Because let's say UEFA aren't for the Super League and UEFA want to continue in the Champions League and this breakaway Super League, does Manchester City, Chelsea, Liverpool and Man United go into the Super League? And then the next 4 clubs or next 5 clubs in England who aren't in the Super League, do they go into the Champions League? And then it's suddenly the Champions League that we know, even in a reformatted version, are they going to have teams like Everton, Aston Villa and Leeds, etc.? I just don't understand how these sort of 2 competitions will work side by side, because UEFA won't want to throw away a competition. UEFA won't go, okay, the Super League's doing their thing, that's to sort of kick on. They'll still need their Champions League, and ultimately, I understand change. I understand moving forward in the game, but such a huge part of the game is history and tradition, and to just throw it away, and eventually it will be thrown away to money. I understand that, but I just sort of don't want to accept it.
Yeah, look, I think you've wrapped that up really well. Borche, what do you think about this, man?
Yeah, look, I don't like either of them, to be honest. I think if I was to go with one, it will be the Champions League, but I do think that needs to be changed as well. That format that we just seen, I don't even like that. I'll go with the format that it is now, but less teams. I think make it harder to qualify, which means the teams are going to push more in their leagues to try and make it. So you're going to see the quality in the leagues improve, and then the quality in the Champions League, because now you're versing the harder teams. It's not going to be Man United, Young Boys. Yeah, I know we got done, but it's not going to be them games where a lot of people, in terms for them, if you look at marketing and the audience wise and who's watching, not a lot of people will be up for that, especially like Mo was saying with the younger generation. They want to see the heavyweights go toe to toe. They want to see the PSG 1 week versus Man United, then PSG and Bayern Munich the next, and then PSG Barcelona. Make that the group, and every group has these powerhouses in it because there's less teams. Make it like a whatever 16 or whatever, however it was last time, maybe 16 teams, and then straight away it's a quarterfinal as soon as you get out of the group or something like that. For me, I think less teams in the Champions League, more quality in the leagues, and then the Champions League gets even better, from my opinion.
Well said, my man. Well said. Mo, I'm going to give you the final word on this, my man, and then I'm going to let all of you fellas go. What are your thoughts?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually agree with my Man United fans out here. I mean, Butch and Tom, they stole my thunder. They said everything I wanted to say. To be honest, I want to keep it as it is right now. Maybe a slight alteration in regards to the number of teams, because I want to see less games to keep that quality up. But again, I think change is inevitable, whether we like it or we don't. It's going to happen. The format, the way it's going to happen, we'll have to wait and see. But I if you want to know my opinion, just go back and watch what Tom and Butch said, because I agree with the boys. I agree with the boys 100%. But before I hand over to you, Scott, I just want to say thank you for giving me this opportunity to come on your show today, and to meet these gentlemen. It's been a pleasure to be part of the show.
Absolutely, man. Look, and I thank all three of you guys for coming on short notice. I must have woken you up when I messaged you, Mo, because I know it was pretty late. But please make sure you check out all their channels. I know a lot of people will watch this on repeat because this isn't one of our normal streaming nights. So please check out the Blue Lounge with Mo. He's been a good friend of ours. The United podcast, Larry and Tom are going live in 50 minutes. And who have you got on there? You've got Jay Moddy coming on, right? So make sure you check that out. And the Football Capital, always putting out some top-tier content, not just on the European leagues, but also on the A-League as well. So, boys, it's a pleasure. This won't be the last time. We'll need to link up again with the other two as well. But thanks for coming on. I want to hit you with 2 quick-fire questions. I promise I will keep them quick because it's tradition on the channel. If you could take one player from each of the teams represented here, who would you take? So, Mo, who would you take from Man United and Arsenal? One player from each right now.
Current team?
Current, right now.
I'll take Pogba, and I would take...
Come on, mate. Shouldn't be this.
I think Partey might do away at Chelsea. I don't know. Okay. I want to strengthen the midfield. So
all right.
Pogba, Partey.
I think with Chelsea it's easy. Kante. I think he's a likable character and obviously a very good player, and in a hole that Manchester United desperately need to fill. Arsenal, tricky one. And I don't mean to disrespect you, Scott. I just don't know. Maybe Ramsdale's the backup goalkeeper for De Gea. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know who else gets in.
Come on, man.
Well, actually, I saw Stu in the comment there say Martinelli. Look, I think he's got a great future in the game. In terms of walking in and improving Manchester United at the moment, I'm not quite sure, but I think he can do something in the game. Unfortunately for you, I don't think that'll be at Arsenal though.
Borche, who would you take?
I'll definitely take Thomas Partey from Arsenal. I know there's Saka and ESR there, but I think we got some decent players in them positions. And maybe Mendy. I think we might need a replacement. Oh, he's 30, isn't he? He's just turned 30. It was his birthday, so I don't know, actually. Might have to see what Lukaku, if he can put his boots back on for United.
You can have him. Take him. I'll pay for his bus, man.
Look, I just realised it's ticked to 40 minutes, so I'll give my answer. Then I'm going to let you boys go. For me, from Man United, I would most likely take, obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo. We're not going to have a striker at the end of this season besides Nketiah. And from Chelsea, I don't really like any of them. But yeah, it has to be.
Take the manager.
Nah, man. Mikel Arteta's on the up, but we'll save that for another stream, boys. We'll save that one. Thank you for joining in. If you haven't already, hit the sub button, hit the like on the way out, and please check out and sub to these champions. Mo, Tom, Borche, thank you for coming on, guys. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thank you, mate.
See you later.